What's going on, folks? Ted from Immersion here, and I wanted to talk to you about an awesome DM's Guild release from our good friend DM Dragonix, who you may remember from a variety of different videos I've done in the past, mostly in the monster area, typically the monster manual expanded and things of that nature. But they just released a last week a new class, level 1 to 20 class called the Shaman on the DM's Guild. It's only $4.99 to pick it up. It's already a best copper seller, which I think speaks a lot for it. And I thought we could take a look at the base class itself. And then there's a whole bunch of different subclasses. So I thought we could pick one and take a look at that as well and kind of give you my thoughts on it. And it definitely fills a void in a certain aspects that I don't think are really truly captured by like the druid or the ranger. And a lot of people, I've seen it in comments and things, are looking for something like this. Definitely a different sort of nature-based caster. So first, let's go ahead and take a look at the DM's Guild page for it. I'll have a link to this in the description. It's also a DM's Guild affiliate link, so if you happen to pick it up via my link, I do benefit slightly monetarily from it. But as I said, as you can see here, it is $4.99. It is a best copper seller. It launched on the 11th. And it says basically one of the biggest taglines that I'm sure will catch a lot of your interest. Do you want to be able to maintain concentration on more than one spell? Because yes, there is a function. It's not a constant thing that this class can do. It is a function of the class and an ability that you can activate that allows you to maintain concentration on more than one spell at a time. So it's not a constant on thing, but we'll talk about that. So it says, written by the author of the Adamantine best-selling Monster Manual Expanded Series, this 32-page player's handbook supplement includes the Shaman, a new exciting primal class tailored to infuse your campaign with fresh content. This supplement also unveils innovative mechanics to enhance your gameplay experience. Also featured is 13 subclasses. There is a ton of artwork in here as well. It is a primal magic caster who occupies a revered and multifaceted role within its communities, such as acting as a spiritual leader, healer, protector, etc. As you can see, there's a couple of reviews out there. It's currently sitting at 4 stars for its 2 reviews. So let's go ahead and just dive in. So we can see here is the table of contents. You'll see there the spirit aspects that you see listed down below. Those are all of the subclasses. Now, they're not directly correlated to the different types of creatures, right? Like fiend, fae, undead. A lot of them do seem to be, but there are also some that are tied to things like war or winter, things like that. I think we're going to go with the aspect of the dragon when we get there because who doesn't want to be and do dragony things? So we can see a little bit of backstory around it, how they fit into the world of Faerun if you're be playing in the Forgotten Realms or something like that. And then here we have our sort of table of our class features. So Ancestral Awakening, you can see you get a total of 3 of these. This is your kind of main, one of your big class features. This is that thing that lets you cast multiple concentration spells. You'll see you get cantrips, you get prepared spells, and full level 9 spellcasting. So you are a prepared spellcaster. You do only have a d6 hit points, though, so you are more of a caster type, though, so you are less hit points than, say, a druid. Light armor and shields, no medium armor. It does still have the terminology here. You'll not wear metal armor. I think since Wizards is getting away from that concept with their updates to the druid, I would probably just remove that myself. Then they have a specific list of weapons. They get the herbalism kit and then wisdom and charisma saving throw proficiency. Wisdom is also the spellcasting stat that they use. They also get access to ritual spells. You can see their spell list here. It covers a variety of spells from a variety of different books, but they have mostly kind of a very similar list in a lot of ways to what you'd expect the druid to have. A lot of sort of nature and elemental based magics. And then again, as I said, level 1, you're going to choose your spirit aspect. That is basically your subclass. So you choose that at level 1. You get a spirit guide here at level 1. This is essentially a find familiar that will get some tweaked aspects as you choose your subclass. You also get this Totemic Spirit, which kind of functions almost like I guess almost kind of like an animal companion, if you will, right? It has, it's a non-corporeal construct. It has its own stats, right? AC of 10, speed of 0, hit points equal 5 times your shaman level, resistance to a bunch of damage types, immune to a bunch of different conditions. And it says it has dark vision. If it's forced to make an ability check or saving throw, treat it as all scores are 10. If it's reduced to 0 hit points, you die or activate Ancestral Awakening, or after 1 minute, it's dismissed. In combat, it acts on your turn, but takes no actions. Instead, you can use a bonus action to command it to use its reaction to perform a specific action on a target you designate. The action can either be enhance, protect, or strike. Those are detailed again in the type of aspect that you pick. You can move it by teleporting it up to 30 feet, and it grows in power as you grow in power at level 12. And then again, once it's only summonable once per long rest. Now, sort of the bread and butter, or the really cool aspect, I guess you could call it, of this class is the Ancestral Awakening. It's almost like an avatar state or like a spellcaster rage, if you will. So it says once on your turn, you can enter Ancestral Awakening as a bonus action. If your Totemic Spirit is active, it immediately ends, and the same spirit empowers it now channels its energy into you. With Ancestral Awakening active, you gain the following. When you cast a Shaman spell, you cast it as if you're casting it with one spell slot level higher. So again, if you're casting a first level spell, you're now casting that first level spell as a second level spell. Whenever you cast a cantrip, you cast the cantrip as if you were 6 levels higher, essentially bumping it up to whatever the next tier of damage is. So if it's normally a 1d8 at level 2, it's now going to be casting it as if it's 2d8. You can maintain concentration on up to 2 shaman spells at a time. Concentration ends on one of the previous spells, your choice. I'm sorry, if you cast a third one, it ends on one of the previous. Whenever you take damage while concentrating on more than one spell or special ability, you can make a separate Constitution saving throw for each, or you must make a separate Constitution saving throw for each. When Ancestral Awakening ends and you have more than one active shaman spell requiring concentration, one of them ends, and that's your choice. So again, while you have this active, which only lasts for a maximum of 1 minute, you can concentrate on 2 different shaman spells. It says the Ancestral Awakening lasts until the end of your next turn, initially. It ends early if you're incapacitated. If your Ancestral Awakening is still active on your turn, you can extend it by one of the following ways. Making an attack roll against an enemy, forcing an enemy to make a saving throw, taking a bonus action to extend it another turn, but only after an enemy creature has attacked you or forced you to make a saving throw since the start of the last round, or use any of your class features to cause you or a friendly creature to regain hit points after it took damage from an enemy since the start of the last round. So this is why I said it's kind of like a rage, right? Because the Barbarian Rage will end unless you take an attack, although again, we kind of have an aspect here similar to what we see Wizards of the Coast doing, where you can just use a bonus action to extend it. It says each time it's extended, it lasts until the end of your next turn, up to a maximum of a minute. And you can enter this a number of times equal to that table, which we saw starts at 1 and caps out at 3. So again, it's going to allow you to bump up the spells that you're casting, whether they be a spell or a cantrip, allow you to concentrate on 2 spells. The only sort of downside that I have with Ancestral Awakening is it is only a second level ability. And I understand that you want to have this early on because it's kind of one of the main facets of the class and it taps into a lot of other aspects of it. But it also makes it a very easy 2-level multi-class dip, assuming if your DM allows you to multi-class, right? If you're a cleric or a druid and you can swing 2 levels into the shaman and they would allow that, you could now have concentration on 2 spells, whether that be a druid spell or a cleric spell or however that works. Actually, no, I'm sorry. It does say it's 2 shaman spells at a time. So it won't, that actually, okay, so that's actually a point in favor of the shaman. It doesn't allow you to do any funky things by casting like multiple cleric concentration spells or multiple druid concentration spells. So it is limited to the shaman spells. We saw the list up above. So that's something to consider. But I'm sure people will come up with other weird ways to mix and match some things. I also like that they get a lot of ritual spells. For example, they get the ceremony spell prepared, and it doesn't count against their number of spells prepared. They get detect spirits at level 2, which again is kind of almost like a divine sense or uh, detect magic, but for certain creatures, right? It is celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, lycanthrope, non-corporeal, undead, as well as any construct that's empowered by a spirit. At 3, they get similar to ceremony. They also get augury, again keeping into this kind of uh, gathering knowledge, divination kind of stuff. You can go on a spirit journey here at level 4, which is, from what I can tell, almost just like, hey, we need some plot information. Maybe the DM can just give it to us, and this is an avenue to do so. It says you can enter the spirit world if you meditate. In doing so, you and up to 6 creatures gain insight about fates of the immediate future. And then you're kind of in a trance state, so you have disadvantage on perception checks and initiative rolls during that short rest. Each creature who joins you and spends 4 more hit dice at the end of the short rest can choose not to regain any hit points. In doing so, the creature instead gains a precognition point for each 4 hit dice spent, rounded down to a maximum of 2 precognition points. Creature can't have more than 2. Whenever that creature makes an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw, they can use a precognition point to roll an additional d20. It can choose which of these d20s it's used for, so it's basically giving you almost like a advantage or like a portent kind of a situation. But I also think it would be good to flavor this because it mentions specifically about like the fate of the fates in the immediate future, using this as an opportunity to potentially guide the party if they go decide to do this. So you can kind of maybe, if they're really off track on the story, you can maybe use this to kind of curb them back to it if you'd like. You get Ancestral Guidance at level 6. This might be the most powerful ability in all of Dungeons & Dragons, if I'm being honest with you. More powerful than casting Concentration on 2 spells. When you cast the Guidance cantrip, you add your Wisdom modifier to the number rolled. Now, anybody who's played D&D, 5e, or even Baldur's Gate knows how powerful Guidance is. If it was Guidance plus your Wisdom modifier, okay, but once you use this feature, you can't use it until you finish a short or long rest. Even still, this could be so powerful to be able to add potentially anywhere from a +2 to a +5 to a guidance. This could make a wild swing in somebody's ability check. I'm glad that Dragonix thought to limit this to only a short or long rest, because if this was an always on thing, it would just be absolutely broken. So that was a good reining in of that power. Again, we have Divination here at level 7. Again, keeping with, this sort of divination style, kind of seeing the future aspects. We have Chastise Spirit at level 8, which is almost like a turn undead feature, using that earlier feature we have for Detect Spirits. However, they must make a Wisdom saving throw or be frightened and have the incapacitated condition for 1 minute. We have Improved Ancestral Awakening, comes online at level 11. Basically, when you activate Ancestral Awakening, it now changes to when you cast a spell, you cast it of 2 levels higher to a maximum of 9th level. When you cast a Shaman spell that has a casting time of 1 minute, you can change it to an action for that casting. You have advantage on Constitution saving throws to maintain concentration. And when a Shaman spell you cast is targeted by an enemy counterspell, the enemy has disadvantage on the ability check to counterspell. So you still have all of these things from before. Your cantrips are still upcast. You can still concentrate on 2 spells. But now you cast spells at a higher level. You can reduce a minute-long casting to an action, have advantage on Constitution saving throws, which is useful because you could potentially be concentrating on 2 spells, and counterspelling you is harder to do. At level 14, you can expend a use of Ancestral Awakening to regain a number of expended spell slots with a total spell slot level equal to half your Shaman level. So again, similar to like Arcane Recovery for a wizard, just comes online much later. And then at level 20, your big bump is Greater Ancestral Awakening, which adds even more to it. When you cast a spell, it's now cast as 3 levels higher, again, maximum of 9th level. And you can maintain concentration now on up to 3 Shaman spells at a time. When you take damage while you're concentrating on more than one special ability, or spell or special ability, you must make a separate Constitution saving throw for each. When Ancestral Awakening ends and you have more than one active, you choose which one which one remains. I'm sorry, because all the other ones end. So let's jump ahead to our Aspect of the Dragon subclass here. So you can see you're going to start off by getting the Acid Splash and Poison Spray cantrips. In addition, you get the following spells added to your spell list. Let's see. Oh, wait. When you reach certain levels in this class as shown, yeah, okay. So we have Burning Hands, Command, Melf's Acid Arrow, Suggestion, Fear, Lightning Bolt, Fire Shield, Wall of Fire, Cloud Kill, and Cone of Cold. This is very, very heavy damaging spells. There are some good AoE and control spells here in Command, Suggestion, and Fear as well. So level 1, you get Totem of the Dragon. When summoned, the Totem of the Dragon manifests as an ethereal draconic-shaped figure. Its scaly surface shimmering with ancient, awe-inspiring power. The features of your Totemic Spirit actions are listed on the table above. So if you choose to use your Totemic Spirit to enhance, the Totemic Spirit targets a creature you designate within 30 feet of you. Once during the target's next turn, when it hits with a weapon attack, it deals an extra 2d6 acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison damage. If you choose Protect, it grants that target until the start of your next turn regains resistance to acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison damage, your choice. Or if you choose Strike, it emits a 30-foot long, 5 feet wide, or adjacent 15-foot cone that you designate. Each creature in that area must make a dex save, taking a d4 acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison damage. Half on a success, you choose the damage type. At 5th level, you get Draconic Spirit Guide. You can instead summon a Pseudo Dragon as your ally. In combat, the Pseudo Dragon acts during your turn. It can move or use its reaction on its own, but the only action it takes is the dodge action, unless you use a bonus action to command it to take something different. That action can be one listed in its stat block or some other action. You can also sacrifice one of your attacks when you take the attack action to command the Pseudo Dragon to take an attack. If you have the incapacitated condition, the Pseudo Dragon can use any action of its choice, not just dodge. At level 10, probably the big feature everybody who hears Dragon wants is Dragon's Breath. When you use your Ancestral Awakening, the Draconic spirits within you enable you to unleash Dragon's Breath. While Ancestral Awakening is active, you can use your action to exhale destructive energy, expend a spell slot, and roll a number of d6s equal to twice the spell slot's level and add them together. This determines the amount of damage your Dragon's Breath deals. If you expend a 4th level spell slot or less, choose one of the following. You exhale acid or lightning of your choice in a 30-foot line that's 5 feet wide. Each creature must make a dexterity saving throw, based off of your wisdom modifier. If you do cold or poison, it's a 15-foot cone based on a constitution modifier. If you exhale fire, it's a 15-foot cone and it's a dexterity-based modifier. On a failed save, a creature takes an amount of energy damage equal to the damage roll, or half as much on a success. If you expend a 5th level or higher slot, choose one of the following. Acid or lightning is a 60-foot line, 5 feet wide. Cold or poison is a 30-foot cone, and fire is a 30-foot cone. So just based on the spell slot you expend, it basically, if it's higher, it's going to increase the range of the Dragon's Breath. On a failed save, the creature takes an amount of energy half rolled. If they fail, they take all the damage. If they succeed, they're going to take half. And you can only do this once per short or long rest. I do like that we're seeing a lot of use of short rest in a variety of the aspects of the totem or of the shaman, which is nice to see. At 12, you get Greater Totem of the Dragon, which basically bumps up what the totem can do, as you can see here in this other table on the right. Enhance is now once during the target's next turn, when it hits a creature with weapon attack, it deals an extra. 2 targets get the extra 2d6 acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison damage. Protect is 2 targets receive resistance to either acid, cold, fire, or lightning damage, your choice. And the Totemic Spirit increases its damage if you choose Strike from a d4 to 2d4. And lastly, at level 18, you get Form of the Dragon. When you use the Ancestral Awakening, you get new features of the dragon. While Ancestral Awakening is active, you gain the following. You manifest Dragon Wings, you gain a fly speed of 30 feet, and you have immunity to acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison damage. I really like the aspects of these subclasses a lot because they really truly tap into whatever the creature or aspect that we're talking about is. I also kind of like the design of the class with the way the subclasses, because they're integrated at level 1, really allows you to really feel like you're shaping your class towards whatever aspect you pick, because it's going to alter some of the base forms of the class. It's going to update things like your Ancestral Awakening. It's going to change, obviously, the way the Totem of the Dragon works. And that was a cool way to not have to try to figure out how to make each totem feel unique from the get-go in the base class, because it's handled in the subclass. So let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Again, I'll have a link to this in the description if you'd like to check out the Shaman for yourself. What do you think? Is this a class that you've been looking for, something you've been wanting, something that kind of fills this nature caster with sort of almost like a rage aspect? Or, is this something you're interested in trying, or would you just not be interested at all? I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Thank you all so much for watching. And again, if you're at PAX East, I am here, so I hope to see you there. I'll see you all next time.